Hello. Welcome to episode, we're five of the Joyful Solopreneur with the Mary Gall and Kathy Basil. This is your go-to podcast for solopreneurs seeking to infuse more joy back into their businesses. Each episode is brimming with actionable advice and heartfelt insights, empowering you to shape your business on your own terms. From honing your message to playful profit planning, prepare to engage with a supportive community that advocates for joy, creativity, and successful entrepreneurship. Let's
Yay!
dive into episode 5. Miss Mary, what are we talking about today?
Yay! I love it. I love just all the joy that we can bring into our businesses, right? Into our lives. So today's topic is getting eyes on our business, right? So how do we get more eyes on our business? We're going to go through some strategies to help ourselves do that without overextending ourselves, right? So that's an important thing, especially for solopreneurs. We're talking about the joyful solopreneur, right? And when you're doing everything yourself, that can start to add up. And so, how do we get more eyes on our business without burning ourselves out? Which I'm so excited to talk about.
I know it's easy to get caught up in all the things, it's like there's another strategy, which is actually another tactic, like another thing to do, which we really just need to go back to the strategy. Simplify. Sometimes I like to say we need to slow down to speed up and think about what
Yes,
really makes sense for your business. Create your business on your terms and based on who you are and who your clients are, but in a way that gets visibility that makes sense for them. So
right, right. Awesome. Okay, well, let's just dive right in here on how, we can talk about just briefly how we have used, what's been successful for us to get some visibility on our business. So, I have done almost checked all the boxes on all the
try
strategies,
them
right?
all.
So I have written a couple of books and I'm published author in a couple of collaboration books as well. So try to keep my name out there in the published author world. I'm also a speaker, so I'm out there speaking and doing trainings all the time, getting in front of groups of people. I've created my own events for speaking events and for trainings. And then, the standard social media, email, newsletter, all of those kind of things as well. So, of those things, the thing I love the most is speaking, right? So when you're in front of an audience, you're up on the stage and you are the expert, you get to share your knowledge with the audience, give them some takeaways. So similar, now we can check off the podcast. I forgot to mention that podcast host, right? Um, so yeah, it's just a matter of sharing your information, but how do you get that information then disseminated to more and more people? And so I really like the one to many, teaching a class, giving a keynote speech, something like that, to a training. That's my particular favorite, but I know there's people who don't like to be on stage. So, that's probably not a good tactic for them. So how about you, Kathy? What are the things that you've tried?
Well, I like how you said is that it's almost like there's a smorgasbord of things for us to choose from. And I think it really depends on what feels most comfortable for you. But I'm with you. I think anytime that we can do one effort and give it to many, many people, that I think is the best use of our time. And like you said, being on stage, I think is my number one tactic too, that I
Mhm.
enjoy. And, I think people can overcome that fear of speaking. I remember this is probably 8 years ago when I decided I was going to start doing that. I went to Toastmasters to overcome my fear of speaking, and I was the most scaredy cattiest of them all. Like my hands were clammy, but my feet were clammy. I was shaking. I was just a mess until I realized that I got to make a mindset shift. I was watching one of the old guys in there, and he was a master storyteller. And as I saw him presenting, I realized he's not like making this big talking heart to heart. And I think when we can take some of these tactics and really just narrow them down to what it is, you chances are you went into business, you've got some kind of change that you uniquely are here to make. And so how do you get that out? I think speaking is the number one way. And so we can speak on other people's stage, which is awesome because they've got the audience. And if you are aligned with their audience, now these people are looking for exactly what it is that you have. Another way I like to think of the concept of always have something to be inviting people to. So if you're out and you're networking is another one of your tactics. Again, not for everybody. So
Right.
the three that I would say that I use, as far as outward bound, I use speaking, hosting webinars, and networking. So I am borderline introvert extrovert, and that extrovert side of me loves to get out and meet new people. So same kind of thing. It's like, okay, I get to create this community of people, not just looking for people who are going to become clients, but to become my networkers through which they can refer me to other people. But the third piece of that, I would say for me, is creating some type of webinar or some type of event on a monthly basis that when I'm out and meeting people or meeting them, maybe it's somebody following up from the podcast or something else that we've done, that if they want to know more about what I'm up to, I can say, oh, come to my webinar next week. And then they'll get a bigger taste. So I kind of think of the customer experience, the journey. You've just met somebody, then what? How do they get to know you?
Right, right. And I know our next episode, we're going to talk all about the customer experience. So we're not going to dive too much into that in this episode, but it is definitely one of the tactics you want to add to your list of ways that you can expand your visibility, right? So, all right. So we're going to jump right into our main content here, which is uh, is building visibility through content. So this is one of Kathy's expertises, right? So I've developed a system in the 11 years I've been in business, develop a system that works for me, and we can talk about that. But really, Kathy's expertise, one of her expertises, is really helping people generate content and generating it in a way that's easy, that's authentic, and that they can build out a lot of content in a simple way. And so I'm going to let you jump into that topic.
And we're just so blessed to live right now. I mean, with social media, it allows you platforms of hundreds of millions of people. And whether you decide to do business locally or around the country or even globally, right from your home, you can reach people. So, and then along comes AI, and for me, I specialize in ChatGPT. Mary and I both are kind of the mindset of just pick one tool or one platform and master that. So for me, ChatGPT is the one. I believe the most important thing when you're considering content creation is to get really clear on who the clients are that you're made to work with and what is the transformation that you're here to bring. So creating content pillars on that, like say, here's my top 8 topics that I'm going to do. And you can use ChatGPT, give it a specific role and say, acting as a marketing specialist, help me to identify the psychographics of my ideal client. Give me their top fears and their, what have they tried? Who have they worked with? All these things. And then from that, you can create your content pillars. From there, you can even create a prompt that just asks for, now give me, based on these pillars, help me to create a year-long content plan incorporating all the national observances and the quirky, National Carrot Day and all these other observances, but other things that would be relevant, and lay out the whole year. So I think, and this is me speaking from experience, a lot of times we get into that, oh, what do I write about? It's because we haven't laid out the entire plan. So ultimately, once you get a cadence for these kinds of themes and the things that you do, like every month every May, you're going to have a Mother's Day, or we've got Memorial Day that's coming up, or certain holidays. It's like, this doesn't, once you've gone through your first year's worth of cycle, you can just kind of create that cadence and repeat on repeat. So then from chat, I like to say, pick a topic of the week, create one long piece of content. So whether you choose to do it on video, which is hot, visibility, again, video is going to outrank pretty much everything right now. So if you could create a longer form content, and by that I mean anything So that might be 5 minutes or more on a video. But it's so cool now. We've got YouTube, so you can upload your video onto YouTube. It will automatically transcribe it for you. I don't know if you know that, but you can drop that transcription into ChatGPT and say, okay, make me a blog on this, make me a LinkedIn post, make me a, five week long things. You and I both are kind of on the LinkedIn, because that's where our ideal clients are, professionals. And just make it easy. Use the tools. But I would say take the extra time. I sent out my newsletter today, and it was, Abe Lincoln said he had 4 hours to chop down a cherry tree. He would spend the first 3 hours sharpening his axe and one hour cutting down the tree. So same kind of thing when we're thinking about visibility. Put the pause button on before you stop chopping and think about what's the right thing for you. So the most important thing is to get clear on your messaging so that it's consistent, so that you're getting in front of the right people at the right time. So in terms of content, social media is such an amazing way. But with that same content, how many different ways now can you get it out? I call it omnipresence. So we want to have that message out. You can put it out in your newsletter. You can put it in a blog. It can be social media posts. Where else? Other people on if you're members of groups or social, networking places, do they have sites that will allow you to post your information so it's out there on a regular basis? You can use it as a way of inviting them to your upcoming events and really be omnipresent. But again, the most important thing is consistency. So you create that trust factor, and then a message that really makes sense for them.
Yes, great answer. Great answer. So I wrote down a few notes as well, right? And the thing I underlined and circled was consistency, right? And so if you have a plan, if you've mapped it out for the year, even 6 months, if a year is like you're too overwhelmed to think a whole year in advance, we're at the end of May when we're recording this. It's today is May 22nd, 2024. So hopefully you're still listening to this in a year or whatever, whenever you listen to this. But we're almost halfway through the year. So just mapping out June through December, right? You can do it quarterly if that's too much content for you. I have a spreadsheet that I've used now for about 7 years to track my newsletter things. And I do a monthly theme, and then I have each week broken down, and I talk about what I'm going to promote at the end of my topic and my subject lines, right? What my topics are. And then I use that for tracking as well. So I say, did I send it? Yes or no. Sometimes I don't get things sent out regularly, right? But that'll show me if I'm skipping too many weeks, if I'm not being consistent with my efforts. And so it shows me, did I send it? How many people were on my mailing list when I sent it out? Did I post it to my LinkedIn page? And then what are the open and click-through rates? So I pull all that into one spreadsheet, because then I can go to one place. When it's time to write my newsletter, I can go in and say, oh, this is the theme for the month. And then, May is mindset for this year, right? So May is mindset month. And so here's my weekly topics, and then here's my subject lines, and here's, did I send it? Here's the stats on what's working. Then when you see all that in one report, it's easy to go back and say, wow, this one had the most open rates. What was that topic about? Or this one got nothing, right? So maybe I need to reword that phrasing, or didn't hit with the audience correctly, right? So then it's easier to just analyze what you're doing and see what visibility tactics, what's the message that's resonating, and they're getting people to click through, right? Because it's one thing to boost your visibility, but we want paying clients, right? We're in business to make money. We need to have people pay us for our services or products. So we want not only the visibility, but the click-throughs, right? What's driving traffic for people to take that next step with you, whether it's, download something, or whether it's sign up for a consult call with you, or, just sign up and buy your product or service is ideal, right? So how are we using that visibility and turning that into clients? So consistency across the board is number one thing, right? So you've got to, again, have a message that resonates with your ideal clients, and then get it in front of them as many times and as many ways as possible consistently, right? I think the stats used to be, it took 7 to 9 touches before somebody bought from you. And now, because of all the social media aspects, I think it's gone up to 15 to 17 is the number I heard last, that somebody needs to see your message, your brand, or your content in front of them before they actually click the button to buy. So,
I heard a different
yeah.
way just recently of that, of think of it in terms of it takes like 4 hours to turn somebody into like just a cold networking introduction to like being more interested in them. So what are different ways that you can invite people into your world and spend 4 hours worth of time with them in order for them to know enough about you that know, like, and trust and want to work with you factor is get them to that yes.
Nice. I like hearing that stat too, because that gives us some, because it is like, it's like going on a date with somebody, right? They're just getting to know us. They're learning to like us, if they want to work with us or not. Do we have the expertise to solve the problem that they have? Do they recognize the problem that they have, or do we need to educate them about that, right? So 4 hours, spending 4 hours with somebody, and what does that look like? Could it be a 5 minute blog or a short 5 minute video or something like that? Those things take time to build up to 4 hours worth to build that know, like, and trust. So I really like hearing that number, because it lets me build
Yeah.
upon those things, right? So we talked about omnipresence, so that you can have that. When you say omnipresence, I immediately think, oh my gosh, that's so much work. You kind of talked about how we can do that so we don't burn ourselves out. But what are some of the ways that you build that omnipresence on, for your visibility without burning yourself out?
Yeah, for me, I like to multitask with each individual piece. So I'll start with a focal piece like a video and record something that's a little bit longer. And now with AI, there's ways of taking sections of that out of there. And so I can include that section into my newsletter and it becomes a social media post. And then it pull out a quote from that or have ChatGPT say, you know, it's like, here's a concept. Can you give me 5 recommendations of a quote that I might pull from? Or, if you've done your homework about certain things about the psychographics of your ideal clients, you'll know who they follow. And you can say, okay, give me, 5 quotes from Brene Brown or Seth Godin or Gary Vee on this, and just allow it to be simple. Like take
Mhm.
one message, one core theme, and then think about the different ways that you can kind of almost like the old days when we had flyers and we stick it out to on telephone poles and
Yeah,
bulletin
yeah,
boards. Like where are the different bulletin boards that you can plug this into? But once you get your list, it should just become a system. There should
yeah.
be certain places it's like, okay, on Tuesdays I know that I can post on these 3 groups. On
Mhm.
there's on Wednesdays I'll start with the video on a Monday. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I know there's a couple different um, groups that I can post in. On Wednesdays might be just a short, and make it easy. Like if you're a Facebook person, it can be as simple. They've got the color background kind of things. You can just put a one-line question on there. That's an engagement thing, but recognize that one theme can be repurposed into different types of content. So you want engagement posts, you want aha posts that helps give them a different perspective towards something that they're working on. Like you said, I think sometimes clients don't know that they have the problem that you solve. So what are the
Right.
ways in which I can help them understand that, wow, their mindset is really holding them back in this regard, or whatever your topic of the week is.
Right, right. And some of the things that I use, because it can feel overwhelming, right? So I use my Fab Friday, my Excel spreadsheet, like I just talked about. So I know here's my content, here's what I'm writing about, here's the topics. And so that helps take away some of that pressure. So if you go into AI and you build a plan for the year, even if you miss a couple of weeks, you can still go back to your plan. It's like, okay, here's where I am now, right? So you can jump back in. You don't have to start from scratch, because sometimes once you have that momentum going and then you take a vacation or summer starts, or, it's graduation season or whatever it is, right? You get sick. And then when you're ready to start again, you feel like, oh, I have to start from scratch. But if you build that plan, you take that time in the beginning to build that plan, then it's easy to jump back into that plan wherever you are and whenever you need to take a break, and then you come back into the plan. So that can help with that burnout. The other thing around that feeling of burnout is feeling like we have to be everywhere all the time and in every platform. So
Yes.
years ago, I gave up Facebook. I still have an account. My team still posts some things there, but I don't go into Facebook unless I absolutely have to, unless somebody says the only place you can go get this information is on my Facebook page, right? Then there's still those groups that I'm in or things like that, that I have to log into my Facebook page to get it, but I don't go in there unless I have to. And I have a pin on my Facebook profile and my business profile that says, the first post is, I'm not on this platform. So if you want to interact with me, go to my LinkedIn page, right? Because that's just where I choose. I can only interact. I
Yeah.
only have so much time for social media, right? So in my day, so it's like, oh, I'm going to pick one platform where I want to interact with people, and that's where I'm going to go, right? So again, you can use a scheduler and you can send the content that you've created to these other platforms, as long as people know you're not going to engage with them on that platform. You really only engage on this platform. And when I meet new people, I always tell them, oh, I only interact on LinkedIn. So, let's connect on LinkedIn, so that they know, don't go Facebook friend me, because I probably will never see that. So and it's okay, but I think if you want to be on all the platforms, and there's a new platform coming out every month, it seems like, right? It's too hard, and that can lead to burnout, and it leads to a big time suck, because you can't go in and engage on every platform the way you need to, right? So that would be a couple of hours of every day, and we just don't have that much time. As a solopreneur, you have other things you need to be doing. So pick one or two platforms, use their scheduling tools so that you can make it easy to schedule on multiple platforms, and schedule things out in advance so that you don't have to be in there every day posting, right? And then set a timer whenever you go in to a social media platform. I don't care which one it is, set a timer so that you say, I have 30 minutes to spend in Facebook, or 30 minutes to spend in TikTok, or whatever it is, because you will get sucked in, and you'll find yourself an hour and a half later wondering, why did I log into Facebook, or why did I get on my and then you're like, I got to get some work done, right? So set a timer, and that will help too, because then I'm here for 30 minutes. What do I need to get done while I'm in this platform to, check in with the people I want to check in with, follow the people, like, share, comment, and get my own posts done, right? So using those things can help you avoid some of that burnout, and just structure your time a little bit better.
I love how you're talking about that, because it's really more about the engagement, and rather than just always sending information out. I think we can get caught up in that frenetic energy of trying to get it out, get it out, get it out, but going deep with the one, and then making sure that you've got the page, and then you can share each other's posts and things like that. If
Yeah.
you follow people who've got the audience that you follow, that's another way of leveraging your effort. If you've taken time to make one great post and say, please share this, or may I tag you in this, like, that's such a great way to exponentialize the effort that you put into that one piece. So I think,
Yes.
in the omnipresence, I guess that's my message, is like, create one golden piece, and then how many ways can you leverage that one effort?
Yeah, it would be fun to put a number to that, right? So can I use this piece of content in 5 different ways, right? Or can I use it in 7 different ways? Or can I use it in 10 different ways, right? But if you said, here's one piece of content, the minimum ways I'm going to use it is 5. I'm pulling that number out, right? But that could be several social media posts, could be a blog, could be a newsletter, your video content, right? So one piece of content could be used 5 different ways. So if you challenge yourself, how can I make each piece of content be worth 5 mini pieces of content, 5 children of that content, right? So I like throwing a challenge out there to yourself. Okay, so another way we talked about, another tactic for getting more visibility is speaking opportunities, right? speaking engagements, workshops, trainings, those kind of things. So again, if you are, I loved how you shared that when you decided you wanted to do this, you went to Toastmasters, right? They can help you. There are groups and organizations out there that can help you be a better public speaker and have more confidence. There's the Jerry Seinfeld joke about, more people would rather be in the coffin than giving the eulogy at a funeral, right? They just don't want to talk in public. So I have always loved talking in front of people and being up on a stage, and that's never been a problem for me. I remember taking a speech class in college and thinking, oh my gosh, this would be great if I could just do this for a living, right? Just talk to people for a living. So I've always wanted to do that. But not everybody has that mentality, right? The majority of people don't like to be up in front of people and public speaking. So if that is something you want to do, talking one to many is a great way to get your eyes on, obviously, a room full of people or a Zoom screen full of people. And if you can tap into somebody else's audience by being on their podcast, a podcast guest, right? I try to do at least a couple of podcast interviews a month, where I'm a guest on somebody else's podcast. Then I'm being exposed to their whole entire audience, right? And being parts of summits, right? There's online summits and then there's in-person summits. So that's another great way where you're going to collaborate with a bunch of other people. You're all marketing the event together to your own lists, right? So you're getting marketed to everybody else's list as well. And then you all provide something of value. I've also been a part of giveaways where somebody is hosting this giveaway for 5 days or something like that. And there's 10 or 15 people that are in the giveaway that are all giving something of value away, something that people can sign in and download. And then everybody that's in that collaboration is sending out at least, 3 to 5 emails to their lists and doing social media posts about that giveaway. So that's been helpful for me to add people to my own list and then just get the exposure to everybody else's, list. So those are ways that you can do the one to many visibility. And those are things that I've done in the past that have worked for me. And I love, creating events and workshops, those kind of things where I can invite people to them. And then this year and last year, really started doing some collaboration events, even on Zoom, where I'm reaching out to one of my potential power partners or power partner I'm established with and saying, hey, let's throw together an hour-long workshop together. You talk about this, I'll talk about this under this umbrella topic. And then, we can both invite and market it to our own people and cross promote each other. And then that way we can, get exposure and visibility to new eyes.
So, and the cool part, you can mash that all up. Just imagine it to be a smorgasbord. Now, which ones, this is the Joyful Solopreneur. So which one can you take part in that feels light and easy for you, that will bring you joy? And infuse whatever you're doing with that joy. And so maybe you don't want to be a part of a big summit, but like maybe that concept of sharing each other's audience feels good and you want to partner with, you mentioned 2, what if it's 4 or 6, or what does it make sense for in your world? Is it in person? Is it online? Like, just choose what it is, choose your lane, and just master that and love it up so that you become that shining star. The gold standard is kind of where we're attracting clients now, because you're in your joy spot. Like, you're attracting clients rather than having to be the one chasing them. So
yes. And along that line, so many years ago, I started an event during the summers called On the Water Networking. And so I love paddleboarding. I love being out on the water. I love doing it during the week. So it's not a little less crowded than during the weekends. And this will be my 9th season with that, 8th that I started the networking piece. The first season was just for my girls, but then, but we do that every Friday during the summer, and it's something I love, and it's something I'm known for now. I go to a networking event and people are like, oh, somebody told me to meet you because you're the paddleboard lady, right? So I just love that I have that reputation as I'm the person that goes paddleboarding, right? And I bring my network with me and invite them to invite their friends, right? So not only am I inviting my people that already know me, but I'm saying, hey, bring another entrepreneur out with you, somebody else that you maybe want to get to know. And this is a fun thing to invite them to. Like Kathy said at the beginning, have something fun to invite people to. And you can make it something that's unique and fun for you. We have another friend of ours that does tea parties, right? So she invites people to come to
Yeah.
tea parties and she educates them about Medicare insurance because she loves having tea parties, right? So find something that you love and then invite your network to come and join you, and then invite your network to invite their friends, or bring a buddy along when they come to these events. So I know some people, one of my clients lives in Minnesota and she does a hiking event, or she's done a pickleball education clinic, right? Because a lot of people want to learn how to play pickleball. So she brought in an education person to teach them the rules, right? So you can make it something about, I want to learn something about this topic. So let me invite my network along and we'll all learn together. And then because you're the coordinator, you kind of are seen as the authority, even if you're learning along with the group, right? But it's a fun way to get out of our comfort zones behind our computers and, try something where we're building that connection online.
And it's fun for you.
It's fun and it's joyful. Yes, yes. And we got to keep challenging ourselves, right? So, and the other thing is then that person will talk about that with everybody they meet for the next 2 weeks, right? So if you invite somebody to come paddleboarding and they've never done it, or kayaking, they come out and they have a great time. You can bet they're going to tell all their friends, all their people in their networking event, like, last week I got to go paddleboarding with this group. It was so cool. So that word of mouth is going to continue because they're going to be excited about doing that stuff with you, right? So that visibility just keeps continuing to grow.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we need to wrap it up here for today. So recap
But I,
for
I think that
strategy.
it rolls nicely into our topic for next week, which is going to be
Yes.
sales, tactics for authenticity and growth. Like when we can set the stage to make the connections in authentic ways, like it just begins that sales conversation. That know, like, and trust is the aspect that we're looking for from the marketing standpoint, but it invites people into our world so that we can have that conversation and get to know them now of what's they're looking for. So
Yes.
what's our joyful challenge for this week, Miss Mary?
Yes. Our joyful challenge is for you guys listening, guys and gals listening, find a way, use your favorite AI tool, ChatGPT or Copilot, whichever one you're using, right? Find a way to put some prompts in there that will help you create your content plan. And then using your ideal, put, as Kathy said, define those pillars of what your ideal audience wants to talk about or needs to know about, and then have it create some content for you, long form, and then what are some breakout pieces
I
of
love how
information.
you said challenge yourself to see how many times. Okay, here's my theme.
Yeah,
How many ways
yes,
can I get this out? Is it 5? Is it 7? Is it 12? Who
right,
knows? How many ways
right.
can you come up with this week?
Yeah, I think of Mother Hubbard and the kids in the shoe, right? Or was she the kids in the shoe? The old lady who lived in the shoe, had hundreds of kids or whatever. I'm picturing the image in my head. But I'm picturing what's one piece of content and how many kids can we make that content have? It's bunny rabbits, right? So
Bunny
how
rabbits,
many
listen.
how many kids can your content have? How many children can you develop from that one piece of content? So, with that, we challenge you to be a joyful solopreneur. Have a great day, and again, we hope you come back and listen to episode 5, which is going to be all about joyful sales.
Awesome.
Have a great day. Bye.